Hello and welcome to another wonderful Wednesday webinar. And the wisdom being dispensed tonight is by the lovely Becky from one of the founders of Crops Not Shops, which is an amazing organisation I've been aware of for a few years. But they've been getting bits of land and getting lots of community together and growing food and sharing that food and you know, getting bits of land donated. So they're very interested in telling us about what's going on today, but very interested in linking to any landowners or groups who are working on projects and see how we can all help each other. I believe they've been offered some other bits of land and things. So let's link together. We've got a land climate emergency centres project. We want to build more city centres linked with land projects. So without too much further ado, I'll come over to Becky. Do you want to tell us about Crop Social? Thank you so much for coming. And
You're welcome. So yeah, hi, I'm Becky, one of the co-founders of Crops Not Shops, and we are a nationwide grassroots movement moving towards radical system change for the new world coming and the nations that are about to rise. Our mission is to feed the world, empowering everyone to go forward to the lands again, creating blueprints for regenerative land-based communities to thrive and sustain each other. And it's a way of life, really. It's how we're meant to live, and we want to create like a new earth, really, by growing food. We also believe as well that in regards to the climate emergency, if everybody grew their own food, it actually would take off so much strain off the whole world, all the resources, fuel, pesticides, emissions. So it's growing food is the answer. Food poverty, bringing communities together. So that's why we are so passionate about growing food. So we started back in 2019 now, and we literally were just going out on our bikes, going into people's gardens, sowing seeds and sharing seeds with people. Sorry, my daughter pressed the button. Sowing seeds in people's gardens, giving out trees and fruit trees, and just really trying to encourage people to grow food. From then, we then moved on to getting our own, securing our own allotments, as well as big industrial greenhouses in Southend. So then we had our first base, and from then we just grew as much food as we can to then plant out in people's gardens. And then we then started guerrilla gardening certain different plots in different communities, where we just literally didn't ask for permission. We just went in there, took over any sort of barren land, communities, like just green spaces, and we turned them into like mini food forests, planted as much as we could, encouraged the local community to jump in, the residents and things to jump in and actually to help grow the food. And then we also started going around schools and nurseries, encouraging them to change their green spaces into growing spaces. And we then, myself and Che, spent the next year also teaching the actual children in the schools, in the nurseries and schools, how to grow food, and using the areas that we completely converted. Because again, we are about educating, empowering people how to grow the food. And actually, we know it starts with the children, right? Well, I mean, and the adults. We're not saying adults are, but I mean, if we can empower and educate the children now, that is going to go on to actually change the next 7 generations, because it's all about changing the mindset of people. So from then, we went around changing people's gardens, and as well as our community plots that we had. And when we got given a year and a half ago, we got the great opportunity of being given or being gifted to host Crops Not Shops on 22 acres of the most beautiful sacred land in Glastonbury. And that's where we created our Glastonbury project. So we've been there for a year and a half. We have 22 acres of land, and we open for camping during the summer months, sort of bringing a bit of income. And then we've got about 6 acres dedicated to growing food, where we were creating a market garden. So amongst the market garden, we first went in there, and we got on the land quite late, actually. So because of that, we did have to we tried to, should I say, get some machinery in just to come and dig the ground for us so we could start growing that year. And actually, we try to practice organic permaculture growing methods wherever possible. We are realists, so we know sometimes we have to look at the resources you've got and things like that, you know. But wherever possible, we always like to protect our earth. But we were against the time, so we did get a tractor to try and come in and dig the earth for us. But actually, the land had other ideas and said, "No, get this big bit of machine off me. I don't like it. You're not going to dig me like that," and basically refused to allow us to use it. So we ended up digging our first plot by foot with shovels, and it was a bit of a daunting task, I must say. But I just said to everybody, you know, take the small square of earth in front of you, dig that off, flick off the turf, and then we just all worked together as a big team. And actually, Extinction Rebellion were doing an event in the top fields. They would hide from the landowner, and so we went up there and basically said, "Hi, Extinction Rebellion. We are Crops Not Shops, real grassroots movements. This is what we're doing. This is how we're changing the earth. Come down, get involved, help us dig our first community vegetable plot." And they did. They put us on their workshop for Sunday at 11 o'clock. Whole load of people came down, shovels in hand, and we dug our first bit of our first vegetable patch. So that's how we got growing that year. From there, we did, I must admit, we did get a farmer to come in and plough the other side of the path for us, because it did take us a long time to dig that by foot. Well, not a long time, but it was a lot of work. So we got the farmer to come in to plough the next side and our L-shaped market garden area. And we just cover cropped it for the year, the market garden L-shaped. But this year, we're moving on. We've created a 1,500 square meter no dig bed on top of all the rest of our growing spaces. And we have 4 polytunnels, sorry, on our land, which are actively in use. We're just consistently growing as much as we can. And
Ricky, can you explain no dig to people? I know Jay was bigging that up to me a while ago.
Yeah,
so basically, tell me about it. No dig.
Yeah, the no dig method is basically all about protecting the earth. And obviously, we, as I said, we practice permaculture. So permaculture is all about, you know, earth care, fair share, and people care. So with no dig, you don't disturb the soil. You basically layer it up with some sort of cardboard, and then you add your organic growing matter, at least a foot of like organic growing matter, and then you basically let the worms do the work from the bottom to eventually join the two soils. Now I personally recommend taking off the turf if you're going to do no dig. Just scooping the top layer of turf off, flicking it over, and then continue to pile it up. But you don't rotivate the land, you don't double dig. You're basically just building on top of the soil that's there, and you're feeding the soil. So everything you do, you just add into the soil, and you plant straight into your organic matter that you've put onto the earth. And it's a way of not disturbing any of the microbes in the soil. And you don't need to. The thing is, we've consistently for years, for hundreds of years now, taken from our soil, and actually we are depleting our earth of everything, and it's the cause of so much stuff as well. You know, like we've got flooding galore going on. We've got no nutrients. The farmers can't even produce food at the moment. They have to highly rely on using fertilizers because there's just no nutrition left in the earth. So it's a way of really feeding the soil. You also keep the weeds down because you're consistently topping up with a mulch. A mulch is just basically a layer of something on top of the earth. And it does work really well. It's a really good growing method. Anyone who wants to like look up no dig, I'd always say to go to look up Charles Dowden. He's one of the no dig special pros, you know. So Richard Perkins as well is a really good one to look up, but Charles Dowden is the king when it comes to no dig. So yeah, it's just about feeding the soil and just continue. Like I said, it's basically no dig. You don't dig into it. You can weed. So there's some people believe that, oh, you don't weed at all, but if you've got some really strong perennial root weeds underneath where you're going to put your no dig beds in, you can weed them out, because you know you want to work you want to work smart, not hard. So you don't want to have to continually then breaking through the soil, you know. So have a little look into it. It's very easy to do, you know. It's very good. And do you know what? It's the earth is screaming out to be saved, and we have everyone has their responsibility to sort of do what they can. So as well as no dig, we practice cover crops. We do cover crops, which are planting specific plants to do specific things into the soil for us, i.e. feeding the soil or breaking up the soil under the ground. There's loads of plants, beans, legumes, nettles, things like that pump nitrogen into the ground. So we cover crop our sections of our growing spaces as well when necessary. So yeah, so then we've got our polytunnels. Also, so basically now we pay it forward scheme, so which we grow for people in need. So basically whatever we sell, you can come and buy a veg box from us, and then whatever we sell, when we actually weighed, I think we got to 9,000 kilos of weighed food that we sold to festivals, like different conscious festivals and events and things. And we've gifted the same amount, or actually we probably gifted much more, to be honest. But we've gifted the same amount of weighed food. We supply food to 2 different food banks, and a Baptist food church who cook for 200 vulnerable people every week. And also it's a pay what you feel scheme. So if you actually come to the land to pick a veg box up, you can pick up a veg box and you can pay what you feel. If you've got £3 in your pocket, you can pay for £3. If you haven't got anything, take the veg. We will fill you up with veg to take. We're about feeding the people, you know. So that's our main food scheme on the land. We run weekly volunteers. We run weekly volunteer days where people can come down to the land and just get their hands in the earth, learn how to grow. We are all about you know, building like the community as well, you know, because it's important. That's one thing that's lost as well within the people. You know, you could live next door to someone now for 40 years and never even know their name, you know, and it's sad, and it's the disconnect amongst people that actually is bringing the whole world down as well. So we're all for uniting people and empowering people and bringing people together. So our main hub, a Glastonbury hub, like I said, we're doing a bit of home ed there as well with the children, and for the adults, because, you know, education is for everybody. So that's our Glastonbury land. We run a couple of events every year as well, different like conscious festivals, which is just basically bringing people together. We have a little bit of music, beautiful, normally raw vegan food, and we do loads and loads of educational talks, workshops, all about from permaculture to just consciousness, conscious parenting, and everything like that on the land. We've recently had a Temescal, which is a sweat lodge, no ceremonial sweat lodge. And we're all for the sober and conscious as well. So all of our events are alcohol free and clean events. We try and keep it plastic free as much as possible. And our main thing is to recycle, reuse, repurpose as much as we can wherever possible. Realistically, if you can't reuse it, repurpose it, and recycle it, it shouldn't be made. So, but we know that. So we also go around all the festivals during the year as well, and we run the kids area and we teach the children. So, and we do all sorts of stuff there, from introduction to protest to decorate your dad to children's yoga, mad scientists, you name it, we do it. So that's brilliant. So we really want to reach out to the children. So we're also working at the moment. We're in major talks at the moment with the Big Issue, and about basically starting schemes across the UK where we work with the homeless and demarginalised like civilians to open growing hubs where they can actually grow the food to be able to support themselves, you know, to sell the food on. So that'd be a project coming. That's starting in the spring. And we've managed to secure a hub. Oh, hello.
I'm just going to mute a couple of people. That's
Yeah,
coughing.
sorry. Yeah.
Amazing, Becky.
Yeah.
Absolutely
So
inspiring.
we've also secured a venue in Glastonbury, in a big inside space, which we are going to convert into a vegan cafe. And upstairs we're going to have dorms for homeless people, 6-bed dorm for homeless people. We're going to run educational workshops and things inside that's going to tie in with our land work as well. So we are also going to be starting work in Birmingham, Bristol, Glastonbury, London, and they're coming up shortly. So this was like hold tight for the next year. We really want to get back to now we've sort of sorry, I think I'm in. Now we've got back. We've sort of secured and really got the Glastonbury site off the ground now, and it's sort of, we know what we're doing with it. We know how it's running. It's going smooth. We really want to reach back out to local communities now and start really getting back into this unused council land, you know, because there's land sitting there just doing absolutely nothing. And it's all good. We can be everywhere needs it. So it's not just one specific place, whether you're countryside, urban, suburban, or inner city. Everybody needs to be able to have the right to grow. So we're going to start reaching back out. There's also actually been quite an interesting move, like development within the governments recently, where there is a campaign called the Right to Grow, and actually Hull Council and Hounslow Council have I know it's a little man, have taken on and introduced it to, like, it's now like they've passed it now, that if there's unused council land or land that's undeveloped or being developed but not being developed for 3 years, we're going to have the right to grow. People
That's
like
amazing.
local people, which is brilliant. It's exactly the road we wanted to go down. So we are all about creating food security, because it's a massive issue now. We have people in poverty, and I mean, well, the biggest booming business at the moment is food banks, and that's awful, you know. And not knocking the food banks, but actually it's sad that we're living in poverty. It's from when you're working 40 hours a week and you can't afford to buy food or to pay your bills, something is seriously wrong. So, you know, we really want to create food security across for everyone, which is another one of our sections within Crops Not Shops, is creating a free and fair food sharing network. So that's amongst like regular people as well. We want to turn your lawn into allotments, and we can help you and advise you to do this. We want to connect people together. The aim is to sort of, if you grow 2 crops in your garden, you grow 2 crops in your garden, you grow 2 crops in your garden, like say Bob at number 1, Shirley at number 4, Tim at number 20, and you help each other out, and then you can swap your crops come to harvest season, because no one can do it all in a small garden. But, you know, if people work together, and this is what they used to do years ago, you know, the whole, we're no Dig for Victory, but Dig for Victory with the war campaign, this is how people survived, you know, and it's lost now as well. And we know that people are ill. Our food is just, we're being poisoned from our food, sorry to say it. You know, not to mention, you know, you've got a banana that's grown in America, packaged in Thailand, flown for stamping in Singapore, and then it's on the supermarket shelves in the UK, and it's been a plastic package. Not that it doesn't need it, you know. It's got a banana peel that protects it. This, you know, this is like the sense of this is where our food situation is going down. And it's just, you know, we realise as well, the farmers, there's massive strain on the farmers at the moment, because they've got so much demand, you know, to supply the food, and actually they can't stop using fuel, they can't stop using fertilizers, they can't stop using pesticides, because they won't be able to produce the food to meet the demands. And so actually, if everybody grew a little bit of food in their garden or in their local community, and work together, like I said, with the free and food sharing network, you know, it's going to be less strain on the farmers. They wouldn't have to supply it, they wouldn't have to have such a huge demand. And actually then it's going to have the knock-on effect of people using less oil, people using less fuel, less pesticides and chemicals into the world. And it actually it's one of the main, it's going to be one of the main answers to the whole climate emergency as well, you know. Not to mention it brings love as well to people, you know. People grow together, and actually it's a proven fact that when people put their hands in the earth, you know, it helps with depression, it helps with mental health, and it's not just for people with mental health issues or things like that. Any normal person, go into nature, get your hands in the earth, breathe in the good energy from the plants, from the trees, and you will actually feel so much better. So it's for everyone, not just people who are in need. So we are desperate for anyone to come together for us, to come with us. We're not desperate, but we're desperate for everyone to come together. So we are asking for people, landowners, local organisations, councils, schools, anyone that wants to empower themselves how to grow food. We have been offered land over a lot of the UK, so we would like people to come together. So whether or not it's to volunteer, to help set up projects within yourself, we can help you set your projects up. If people have tools that they want to donate, anything like that, funding, we could really do with it. We're a grassroots movement. We don't receive any government funding at all. And like I said, anyone, even if you've got a little space, a growing space yourself, whether it's a patio, a balcony, or it's a giant allotment and you need help, reach out to us. We will do our absolute best to advise you, to connect you with people. And it's all about just creating a new way of life now. It's obviously the earth is dying, like, you know, it's screaming out to be saved, and it's down to us to save it, not just for ourselves but for the next 7 generations as well, and then for them to save it for the next 7 generations. Otherwise, it's what's going to happen. We're just going on a spiral, downward spiral at the moment. So yes, that's where we're at the moment. It's very interesting. I've just personally been to see 2 council plots of land in London, North London, which is good, because I found one and it's unused. Sorry, I was going to just go in and guerrilla garden it, but actually we're trying to start working with the system. We're not anti-system. We just want to, the best way to change the system is to infiltrate it from the inside. So I reached out to a local councillor about 1 plot of land. She's told me about another plot of land. So it's always worth reaching out to your local councillors and seeing whether or not they've got anything, any bits of land that they know of, because actually they don't have people like there's funding pots available, but the councils just don't have the funds like to just go in, and if no one's asking for it to be done, they won't go and put their hand in their pocket to change certain areas, basically. So that's where we're off, and we are completely off grid at Glastonbury. We are run from we've got 3 different solar systems. So yes, fine. We run from 3 different solar systems, and one solar system, we've got our main sort of like hub at the bottom, and that powers that. We have a bigger solar system which powers our water pump, and all our water is from a spring, a natural spring on the land. So that solar powers that, and then we've got our 3rd solar power system which runs our hot spring water showers, and we've got a 4-wheel irrigation system, so all our vegetables are completely organic, spring-fed vegetables, which is good. We don't have any sewers on our land, so we don't use any chemicals at all on the land. Even in the shower, we have all natural products because it drains straight into the earth. We deal with all our own rubbish, and yeah, so we're completely off grid on Glastonbury, which is a beautiful way to live. Difficult, not very difficult, but it can be difficult, but it's a beautiful way to live. It's nice to know that we are actually standing on our own 2 feet and pumping out a massive amount of food, and it's just growing and growing.
Absolutely smashing it out the park, Becky. I mean, you are doing so much on so many levels, so much knowledge in there.
Thank you. How are we doing?
Well, absolutely. I mean, fantastic. There's so many bits in there that I want to comment or ask questions or bits on.
Mhm.
Do you want to talk a bit more? Should we go to questions and
No,
feedback from stuff?
yeah, we can do questions.
I mean, so just to say, while people get their questions ready, there is down the bottom the reactions button down the bottom. It helps facilitating if you put, lift your hand up so we can see who's 1, 2, or 3, or you can go old school and just wave your hand about a bit like that, and hopefully I'll see that. But just so much in there. Becky and Che and all the team, you're absolutely pioneering, trailblazing, so much amazing stuff. I think Alan, in a bit, it'd be great if you could come in and tell us what you've been doing in Hull, because they're doing stuff on the right to grow.
Yeah.
And you just made so many banging points there, from food miles. Why are we shipping apples in from South Africa when we've been getting from Kent or next door, or where it is? Thinking 7 generations ahead. The soil, we've really got to look after the soil. I had the great joy to hang out with Starhawk, one of my personal heroes, a few years ago at the Green Gathering, and she said, as an activist, she does permaculture workshops as well as direct action, a bit of magic stuff. And she was saying, as an activist, one of the most important things we can do is create soil, because we are depleting our topsoil so fast with all the chemicals and everything all over. There's definitely a few more questions I got there about how people can link up with you and other bits of land. But if anyone's got any questions or feedback, doesn't necessarily have to be a question. It can be what you want to say. Anyone out there want to put your pinkies up, put your hands up, electronic hand or normal one, or make a comment? Over to Toby Brown. Over.
Yeah, hi there. Hi, Becky. I just want to say inspirational, really totally inspirational. Everything you said just rings bells and beautiful. It's just beautiful and magical. So thank you for being you and doing what you do, and everyone there as well. I understand that you were given the land, is it 100 years in trust? Is that right?
No, not 100 years in trust. It's actually a privately owned land. We work with the landowner. He wouldn't like to be called a landowner. He says he's a land guardian, because the land belongs to the earth. And we basically went in there on a 5-year contract, just to see what we could do to start with. But at the moment, we're thriving, so we can't see any problems there at all. Just to sort of go forward with the landowner, we have a contract in place with him, which is really to secure ourselves. But it's not a legal contract of any sort. It's sort of just a word of our own, of our own. What basically just the terms and conditions of how. Sorry, just 1 second, just my child. Just in case, just basically things like, just to make sure we've got any terms that anyone wanted on the agreement. So we're there as guardians of the land, and we work really closely along the landowner. His name's Mark. He's absolutely amazing. He's got the same vision as us, and he's very much about looking after the land. So we've got in with the food growing aspect, and that's how we've worked together.
Okay. And was it easy to make that connection?
Yeah, it was quite easy, actually. Yeah. Once we sort of just got talking to people, there's a lot of landowners out there who have got land and don't know what to do with it. A lot of people are quite scared about things like planning permission and things like that as well. People have land and they just don't know where to go. So there is landowners that are screaming out basically for things to be done on their land.
Okay. That's great to hear. Thank you very much. And yeah, keep doing what you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Toby, do you want to just briefly say something about vegan support the farmers? I know that some farmers in Wales have been having people's assemblies, and I had a brother who was a farmer for a while. He got out farm. He said it was very, very hard for farmers. But do you want to say something briefly there about vegan support the farmers?
Yeah, very much so. I'm part of Animal Rising, which used to be Animal Rebellion, linked to Extinction Rebellion, so on and so forth. And we've sort of along the years realised that obviously we need farmers and farming and food in order to survive. So initially we started something called the Farmer Dialogue, which happened alongside the dairy campaign last year, the Stop the Supply of Dairy, that we carried out in September of last year. And we went and spoke with farmers at the same time. And then since then we've been going to auction houses and markets and so on and so forth, just talking with and mainly listening to farmers. And I think this sort of vegan support the farmers has come out of Farmer Dialogue, and really we're just going to be going initially, this is very new, but initially we'll be basically trying to support sort of the industries that support the farmers. So especially the mental health issues that they have. So for the first year or so, the main plan is to raise some money and give it to one of the charities that supports the farmers' mental health side of things, because I think it was 1919 to 21, 136 farmer workers or agricultural workers committed suicide, and that is just wrong and it shouldn't happen. But yeah, we need to be talking with everyone in order to make the world and the agricultural system a better place, because the aim is to rewild the land, bring back apex predators, bring back keystone grazers, in order to have a rich biodiversity, which will then, sequester all the carbon and give us healthy food and vegan food for everyone. That's sort of the basics. If that helps.
That does. We need to do a lot more of that on a lot of levels, supporting the farmers through this transition. We talk about just transition from oil and other jobs to renewables, but how do we transition to this, new way of being on the land and growing food locally and food miles and things? Nice one, Toby. Maybe anyone else pop your things up if you want to say a question or a comment. But Alan, do you want to tell us? You've done some groundbreaking work there with, I think, what is it about the council as the right to grow? You can tell us a little bit more. The council said that their land can be accessed, and we want that happening more places. Tell us a bit more how it came about, what it is, etc. Over.
It's an ongoing campaign, but yeah, it was in the Guardian about 3 weeks ago that we'd got the right to grow. So it's been a long campaign involving a lot of people, including Incredible Edible and Rooted in Hull, and so I run the CEC permaculture garden that is growing the food that we give away in the CEC in Hull, and so we're part of the growers network in this area, as is everyone else who's part of this campaign. And all it means is that there is a lot of unused space, as Becky was saying, just the same here as it is in all cities, really. And it means that we have the right to grow food on there for the community. So the next part is identifying where all this land is, but also being a little bit discerning about what to grow where, and the environment around it and what would be best. So we've been working with scientists. So Phoenix, you were at the conference the other day, and I was introducing Optimal Cities and Pangalactic, who were helping us. So I'm a sustainability officer for Pangalactic anyway. So with Optimal Cities, what it means is we can use the European Space Agency satellites to look at the land and know what the vegetation health is like, what the soil health is like, what the air pollution is like, see how much lead is going to end up in our vegetables when we grow them there, and see how we can alter that. So if there's a really good piece of land which is in the heart of the community and food could be grown there, then if we could just find out a bit more about it. So if the lead levels or air pollution is really bad around there, what can we do to make a separation between that and maybe where it's coming from, which is probably a major road. So it's about planting hedges, planting trees, seeing what we can find out from the infrared about things like the radiation levels, and it gives us an idea of what will grow there properly. So it's mixing permaculture, which is an art and a science, with other arts and sciences, I guess, and just really taking it on with every possible resource that exists in the world that we can throw at it. But yeah, we've got opportunity to feed each other, which is brilliant.
Absolutely inspiring. We need that spreading around a lot more councils. Some councils, I think Sussex is one of the biggest landowners in the country, and if you do approach a council, sometimes they might have a bit of space or something. I put a few website links in there. There's one we had speaking on a previous webinar called urbancultivate.com. Alan, can you find Optimal Cities and pop it in the chat, please?
Yeah, of course I can. Yeah.
But Urban Cultivator, basically they're using satellites to map any green or land or disused bit of land space that could be used for growing. Once they've worked out in Islington, they're a university group, they're going to roll it out around the rest of the country. There's one other group called landexplorer.cc or .coop. I've put it in the chat. They help groups identify vacant or bits of land, who the owner is of that bits of land, and sometimes of buildings as well. So if you spot a disused bit of land in your area, try and find out on Land Explorer CC or via the local council or land registry who owns it. Either get in there and do some guerrilla gardening, or try and find out who owns it and actually ask them. You know, obviously it's longer term. It's good to ask permission, and you can grow things longer. Lots of inspiration there. One last one. They're so inspired by the Humber Eco Festival and the launch of the Humber Eco Network from that. There was an amazing talk by an Italian guy, Silvio, I think the pronunciation might be, Optimal Cities. And he's a scientist who works with the European Space Agency and a lot of other groups, but they're doing mapping of like flooding in Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam, pollution levels in Camden. They're working with Hull to map where the possible floods are, and then using this satellite data to work out where the best places would be to plant trees to stop that flooding. And their idea is to make, you know, scientist level satellite data available to all members of the public, so that you can use that to make strategic decisions about climate change and where to plant things and stuff. So I think Alan's popping that in the chat. The mind is reeling from Becky. You were absolutely inspirational, just reeling off so much in there. Any other questions there or feedback from the assembled university challenge team? Lovely to see you, Glynis. Welcome. That's Swindon beaming in. Questions or feedback or comments?
I just want to say thank you. That was absolutely, like you say, so packed full of awesomeness. So thank you so much, Becky.
Thank you.
Definitely inspirational. So Rayla says you're in southeast London. You got your first community meeting to begin a forest garden. Rayla, do you want to tell us anything about that? We can link you up to the forest garden person.
And water and PPS. That's what we're expecting. Around 56 labour in total, both for 17
and bit garbled there. Was that Rayla?
Hi, yes. Can you hear me?
I can, yes. You go ahead. I'm just, maybe there's someone else. I'm just going to mute. You go ahead.
legislation.
I started listening a little bit late, but amazing what I've heard so far. It's really inspirational, what I've heard. I was just thinking how much backwards we need to go forwards. Listening to Becky's speech, what she's done, amazing work. It's really, really inspiring. I've just started recently in this area with my neighbour, and we've actually started getting in touch with the community to build a forest garden in our local park, which the council have given the space. Initially, they had given us a smaller space, which we've been trying to get the community to get involved. It's a bit of a challenge to get people involved, but it's finally this weekend. Actually, we've got our first meeting. We've had a lot of interest all of a sudden, especially from families actually wanting children to be involved, which is I'm excited about. So this is the first time we're going to actually meet and actually begin the work. We've been given the go-ahead to actually begin the work. So I'm excited about putting my hands into the earth and getting this forest garden lifted off, really. So thank you, everyone.
That's brilliant, Rayla. Get in touch with Transition Towns. I'll message you contact someone called Rakesh, who's an expert at forest gardens. He's been setting them up around the world, but Transition Town particularly have got grants available to local Transition Town groups. And
I'm working with Rakesh. This is Rakesh's project, so I'm working with Rakesh.
Lovely. Small one. Over to Dinah M. Nice to see you again.
Haven't seen you for ages. It's great to be here, and I just wanted to say to Becky, wow, amazing, thank you, hooray, wonderful, inspirational. And the other thing is, everyone I talk to at the moment is all talking about food. While I've been on this, I just got a call from someone on my phone saying, I've just found a bit of land next to the community centre. No one's using it. Let's chat about how we can put it to work. It's like, it's got to come. And what makes me really happy is if people love the land they stand on, they can look after it and they'll protect it. And that's really, really important. So thank you, Becky. Whoa, that's it.
Thank you, Dinah. Remind me, Dinah, because there's two Dinahs. Are you with Seaford or Lewis?
Lewis.
Lewis. Ah, great. Okay. Maybe could you direct message me your number so we can have a little chat? I just want to catch up on how Lewis is doing and how we can all help each other.
Fantastic. I'll put it in the chat, shall I?
Yeah, direct message it to me if you like.
Right.
So,
Okay.
folks, we're drawing into the last 10 minutes, and Phoenix, being the practical person he is, I want to work out how we upscale and accelerate this. So we now have, it's about 22 climate emergency centres. There's about 5 or 6 land climate emergency centres. 2 or 3 of them have closed. There's about another 4 or 5 centres in the pipeline, opening soon, hopefully. I'm supposed to be going to visit Ipswich soon, about checking about a place there. Oh,
nice. We've got contacts in Ipswich.
Okay. Oh, cool. Yeah. Cool. Let's link up. So how do we accelerate getting bits of land to grow food on? One of the biggest challenges is finding out who the owners are and beginning that dialogue and that conversation. So landexplorer.cc, land registry, talking to your local council. How can we link up with Crops Not Shops groups? They're being offered bits of land around the country. So if you've got a CEC or a centre that's either a team or you've got a physical building, one of the long-term projects that we want to have more time, energy and capacity, and hopefully one day get some funding for, is to link up land climate emergency centres with city centres so that groups can cross-pollinate. They can go and have a break out of the city for a start. They can learn about growing food, permaculture. We want to do a big tree planting campaign. I was talking to a few of the big tree groups at Hull about it. One of the long-term dreams is once a year in November, 25 of the centres all go out, and one weekend they plant 1,000 trees. They get a team of 10, 15 people and have some food on the Saturday and a nice fire in the evening and plant some more trees on Sunday. And then boom, 25,000 trees are planted. We've got to get serious. We've got to get really, really organised. It's absolutely critical. And everything Crops Not Shops and Becky are telling us about there, it's good for the soil, less, organics, less poisons, and it's good for community. So how, open question to Becky and all the crew, how can we link up with Crops Not Shops, with bits of land? How can we find more bits of land to link with centres and accelerate this growing food and growing trees and growing community? It's really important. Becky, maybe first of all that question over to you.
Yeah.
And put your hands up. How can CECs link up with Crops Not Shops and bits of
Well,
land?
you can always reach out to myself or Che. You can reach us via our Facebook page. Our email addresses are becky@cropsnotshops.co.uk or che@cropsnotshops.co.uk. Again, our Facebook group, our Instagram, Facebook's probably better. Just drop us a message, and we'll do what we can. Really, we sort of see what resources we've got, what resources you're requiring. We're asking for any landowners to come together to us if they're interested to set up these projects. Because what we've tried to do on the Glastonbury land is create a blueprint that can be replicated on these other bits of land. So we've been here for 1.5 years now. We understand that land is different, growing aspects are all different, but the main sort of blueprint of the project we've sort of got down now. So we can take it from there, really. If we can't directly be on the land, we'll put you in touch with our volunteers. We want to, but we are freely. I'm based in London, Che's in Glastonbury. We all travel, and our hearts are in it, so there's nothing that we can't do. Basically.
Beautiful. If you can pop in an email or something, or I put the website on early on, but if there's a way that groups can take your email and contact you directly, do you know where some of the bits of land that you've been offered are, and whether I can send you a link to the CEC map? And there's teams who haven't got buildings yet, and then there's you know, there's about 20 teams looking for buildings, and then there's about, you know, 20, 21, 22 centres, and then there's about 5 or 6 land climate emergency centres. And
yeah, so we're in, we've been offered land in Devon, Glastonbury, we've got land, and we've been offered other land there as well. London, Bristol, Birmingham. I think we've got some links up in Doncaster as well. Che will know more about the address, the actual addresses, about exactly where they are. But again, there is land like everywhere really. People, we've been offered spaces in Scotland. So yeah, again, there's quite a lot of areas that we've been offered land. Let me just put these addresses in.
So there, folks, there is.
Open?
Habiba?
Are you open? Because I'm going to Glastonbury soon. So are you open at the moment?
What, for camping or just to visit?
Just visits.
Yeah, come down, visit. Yeah.
What is the address?
The address is I don't know how to get back onto the
You got a postcode at least?
Yeah, I do indeed. 1 second, I can put it into the chat for you.
And we'll try and stop by.
Cool. Cool.
It's Bradley Stream Road. That's the postcode. But it's Bradley Stream Road in Ashcott.
What, and that's the postcode, Bagley Stream Road?
No, I put it into the chat. TA7.
All right.
9F.
Sorry, I've put you on the spot. Don't worry, I'll find it another way.
No,
there's the postcode, Habiba. You're good.
Postcode there, but also if you go to our website, www.cropsnotshops.co.uk, the pin drops on the website.
I'm just writing that down. Cropsnotshops.co.uk. Thank you.
If you're on Facebook, you can always reach out to me personally. I'm Becky Morley Sutcliffe. I'm one of the admin pages. I'll always help you if you're ever in need and you can't find it.
Brilliant. Okay, so really, really inspired by so much there, and I really think we need to do something, a word that I made up a while ago, network welding. We need to cross-pollinate. We need to, you know, there are existing networks that we can all link with. We need to work more with Transition Town Network, with Friends of the Earth, up in Hull, very strong Friends of the Earth group and things. There's a network I put there, Diggers and Dreamers. They've got a network of about 30 co-ops in all sorts of spaces up and down the country. If you want a break, go and visit them, go and help them with a bit of woofing or whatever it is. Close to the 8 o'clock. So, Becky, is there any other final comment or anything you want to share there? Let's keep in touch. Let's keep weaving. Yeah, just keep in touch. Anyone with any sort of ideas, again, land, volunteers, any sort of ideas for funding, we can come together. Any other movements, CICs, grassroots movements, individuals, anyone at all, let's get together and really go forward with the mission, really. Like I said, we're doing big things with the big issue coming up, and that's going to be coming up soon. All about piloting some projects to help really help demarginalised people and setting up our new hub. So yeah, just keep on growing, everybody, and let's grow together. You know, there's no one we're not an individual thing. We are so desperate for all of these movements to sort of come together, because together we're strong. Beautiful, beautiful. There was just one more thing I want to drill a little bit more into. You said about this big issue opening up growing hubs. So you're going to work with the Big Issue magazine. You're going to try and identify bits of land. Tell us a little bit more on that. Basically, the Big Issue have a whole different side to the magazine side, and it's all about investing in different projects. So they, although they are a class, they're not really a charity. They're about empowering people. So the aim is we're putting together one project in the spring just to pilot it to see how it works. And the idea is not just for their vendors, but for also demarginalized people to come down, like take ownership of the growing on this space, be trained for the year, you know, educated on how to grow the food, like advise them on how to sell it for profit, to be able to support themselves. Although one of our main things, as I said, we don't budge on, is that anything we sell, we gift half away. So again, that will be part of the scheme. Because again, a lot of the vendors, they do better with magazines in the winter months. So actually the summer growing months, there's a gap there, you know. So this is where the growing side of it
can really come in to help them and to create little mini businesses, you know, and which brings more organic food to people, as well as our hub in Glastonbury, which we've already secured the venue, which has got we're going to open the vegan raw cafe at down at the bottom of the ground, and then we've got the big workshop space there. Upstairs, we're going to have the homeless dorm hostel that will sleep 6 people, and just run loads of education from there as well. The actual growing space is the growing scheme. We are working on that now. We want to do it in one area first to start with. We were deciding between Glastonbury or Bristol. Both of those have got high levels of homelessness, massive food poverty again. So we're going to pilot it then, and then once we've got even a year, maybe. I mean, the first year is always like the trial and error year. You know, testing what's going to work and what's not going to work. And then we've want to, like ourselves, myself or Che or some of our other head growers, will actually train how to grow the food, because we are all about educating people. So that's we're going back for another meeting on Friday, and we've been scouting out land and doing lots of things, and yeah, it's going really well.
I love it. So inspiring. I think as the Black Panthers say, each one teach one. You're actually giving people a fishing rod, not just a fish. You know, you need to work on this, you know, food resilience, particularly as the climate, like you were saying, this is an answer to the climate emergency. We need to grow food locally. We need to work on all these climate and local food resilience projects, and consuming less and sharing more and learning about growing. It's good for the mental health. It's good for lots of things. So no dig for victory. Thank you very much to Becky for big up to Shay. Unfortunately, the reception wasn't good enough where he was to beam in, but I think Becky's absolutely smashed it out of the park. Really, really inspired. Please, folks, we do these webinars so you get inspired. Contact each other, get in touch with Crops Not Shops, find a bit of land near your CEC, and do like Hull has been doing for a long time, and dig in for victory and grow your local veg. All right, guys, I'm going to stop the recording there, but if people do want to do some checkouts, thank you very much to everyone. Check out Crops Not Shops on the website.